Well, at least for now, I haven't had to use this. And I'm sure that I won't. But it's now time for my close. And you don't have to get your credit cards ready. When a big seminar guy came to the last seminar, we actually had a couple. And I said, do they still sell from the back of the room? So, hell yes. He says, that's where most of our money comes from. And as I said sarcastically, I thought that died in the 90s. But most of the information that you've received in other seminars should have died in the 90s. Because I'm not saying it's meaningless, but it's almost meaningless, almost. Now, I'm going to read this, bear with me, and because this impacted the decision I've recently made. This is an email I got from a mentee January 15th, just a few days ago. This will be the last time I'll express weakness. It's been hard. The hardest part was dealing with my wife, followed by naysayers, and then by default. You once told me that a new marriage and a young wife is tough. I had no idea. Kept the marriage together, but Lord knows this would have been easier without her. Actually, marriage is more solid now without a penny to my name than when I had a little cash to throw around. I made every mistake you told us to avoid at least 3 times. I won't go through them. Burned through my savings and credit cards 6 months ago. Been running on exhaust fumes since. I've said that we are for 2 years now, close to getting the deal done. But I'm going to start getting fucking deals closed in Q1. This is now. I hope you'll be impressed because I still expect to be the most successful QLA mentee ever in terms of value equity created. It'll all be legal, moral, and ethical, of course. Until I close a few deals, it's all bullshit. Just talk, but I think I got the process down, just after 2 years, okay? I don't know which side of the continuum I want to be on, Henry Kissinger or Pena. There's 2 ends. There's the soft end and the hard end. I'm the hard end. Kissinger would be the soft end. I've tried both, inconclusive results, laughing out loud. If I had to do it again, I'd do dental, veterinary, or bedpans, and I now run through the steps 30, 60, 90 days tops. Don't need any advice or help, just giving you an update. Most of the kids that come through the program fall between now and that. The average deal size in 2019, you kept 64.6% of the deal. The average time it took you to do a deal was a little over 17 months. 17 months. You heard a deal in less than a year, and you heard a deal in 73 days. So the only thing that's keeping you from doing deals is between your ears. It's you. This is a kid who is a scientist by education, and it's taken him a long time. But the important thing is he hasn't given up.
Dan Pena is the last alpha male on earth. I believe he's an institution, and when he goes, they will never make another one like him. So I want to spend pretty much all the time I can being around him, soaking up all of his ideas, all of his influence. He's taught me so many things about life. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Take risk. Go out there and be all you can be. Without Dan, I wouldn't be where I am today. A lot of people don't get Dan. A lot of people find him politically incorrect, and I understand that. But for me, he's a treasure, and he's a guy that has changed the world. And when he's gone, I just don't know what the hell we're going to do.
You met the guy that did 23 deals in 1 year. I know records were made to be broken, but fuck you, Marcus, for breaking my record. I thought that would stand forever. It stood 30 years, but and I'm proud as hell. But the real question is, what the fuck have you been doing? What the fuck have you been doing? Certainly not 23 deals, unless you were part of an M&A team at Goldman Sachs or something. I mean, or some big investment bank. But what Brian said and what Mark has accomplished, plus a couple other things, have brought me to a decision.
Dan, this is Victor Brick. How you doing? Lynn and I say hello. I'm sure you remember when we came to your castle in Scotland probably 20, 25 years ago. I've been applying everything you told me to do. I got a world-class CFO. I hired people and built the business to the people instead of building the people to the business. And today, because of Planet Fitness and a couple of other ventures, on paper at least, I could be considered a billionaire. So, thank you. Hope to see you sometime. And let everybody know, you can tell everybody from Lynn and Victor Brick that what you say works. And we're living proof. Not bad for a recreation director, huh? My mother-in-law didn't want me to marry Lynn because I was going to be a PE teacher and a coach. She told Lynn, you marry that boy, you'll spend all your life in a smelly gym. Little did she realize we would own them all. But right now we own 75, going up to 150, maybe 200. Got clubs in San Francisco, Seattle, Tennessee, Maryland, Florida, just opened clubs in Australia. I could go on and on. A lot of it's because of what we learned that week with you at your castle. So God bless you.
Victor and myself want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all of your inspiration and wisdom that you shared with us when we visited Guthrie Castle in 1996, I believe, for your Quantum Leap workshop and seminar. So thank you. Thank you for being our secret mentor. We appreciate you and your experience and wisdom.
I have not heard from them other than this film in since 1996. They're multi-billionaires. So how many of these are out there that I don't know about? If they weren't doing a documentary on me, those people probably would have never been found, even though they're in the DC area. So Marcus breaks my record. I'm the last of the alpha male Neanderthals, according to Brian Rose, and he's probably true. The bricks turn up overnight, out of the blue, multi-billionaires.
But the truth is that at that point in my life, nobody else gave a shit about me. And Dan was the only fucking guy that cared. I don't know, does anyone else feel that way about Dan?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, that goes for my dad, and my mom, and my wife. No one else gave a shit. But Dan gave a shit. So, that was a big thing for me. And from there, I just went back and started executing. And I know it might not look like I did QLA, but I fucking did QLA. And London Real was QLA. I was going in every day and trying to crush it and crush it and crush it. And so that's what that was all about. A couple months ago, I just knew I had to go back to the well and had to go back and really learn the basics of QLA. And this week was absolutely fucking incredible. Blew my mind. Thanks to Dan and everything that you all taught me this week. So thank you all for teaching me. Everybody behind the scenes, and Thomas and Daryl and Goomba Brothers and the fucking terrorist dude. And everyone here just really educating me. And sometimes it's that one sentence at that one moment. Ibrahim, I know who you are. Who's now, I got your files that are probably poisoning my hard drive. Tracking me. But this was life-changing for me. And as I just told EJ and Kat, I mean, watch what the fuck I'm going to do in the next 5 years. It's going to blow everyone's minds. And it's all because of this man here, Mr. Dan Pena, $50 billion man. And I know he's not Mother Teresa, and I know he's not out there changing lives, but he was fucking the only guy that cared about me, and he changed my life, and I know he changed all of yours. And so, Dan, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I think from everyone else here, you're a great man, one of the greatest men I've ever met, probably on this planet. And I really appreciate everything you do. So lots of love to you and Sally and to your quantum. Thank you very much.
Originally, this seminar that I posted 8 months ago was my sayonara. This was it. I was going to say, thanks for the fucking memories, you tub of shit. you black person, you woman, you fucking sluts. Thanks for the fucking memories, because I had had enough. Now, finding instant billionaires. Marcus breaking my record. Brian, not saying anything other than obvious, I'm probably the last alpha fucking male on the planet. I have decided not to quit. So I'm going to continue to make millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions, and tens of billions, and hundreds of billions with you fucking meatheads. And but this was it. And I have practiced another speech at least 500 times. A few shedding tears, and but I'm not going to. I wouldn't have missed you, but I was going to lie and say that I missed you. But I'm selfish enough, based on those facts that happened, or those incidents that happened in the last 20 days, that there is still a need of this old man to keep dragging your sorry asses across the goal line. And I would be disingenuous if I didn't tell you I enjoy seeing Carl and New Blood Roberto. I enjoy the shit out of that. I would be disingenuous. I don't enjoy what it takes to get them across the line like I used to. So there will be another seminar, and it's going to be sooner than later. I'm going to do it one at a time and see how I like it. But there will be another one in this year, and I look forward to and this one day thing, I'm probably not going to do another one for another 20 years, because this standing on my feet on my artificial knees, I would be a lying old bastard if I told you this was fun from about 3 hours ago. Because of my knees, okay? And I wear these arthritic old person shoes because they got a lot of padding and a lot of support, instead of my fancy $3,000 or $4,000 shoes that Sally buys me or makes me wear that came from Italy. I think these were made in a brickyard someplace, but they're good. They're good. So I'm at your not disposal, but I continue to drive beyond $1 trillion. So my new goal is $2 trillion. $2 trillion. And I am the greatest of all fucking time. The greatest of all time. The greatest wealth creator of all fucking time since Moses. I wonder who they're talking about. I've created billions, tens of billions, hundreds of millions, billions, tens of billions, and hundreds of billions. And there's no other swinging dick on the planet that can say that. The greatest of all time. I like the loud sound of that. Thank you.
Couple thoughts as we end. Good time? Good. Okay. Every once in a while, fate smiles on you. It certainly smiled when I met Dan in 1993. I think it just smiled on you too just a couple minutes ago. You absolutely have the tools. You absolutely have been shown how to do it. I can make no guarantees on whether someone will be successful or not, but people do often ask me, does this stuff really work? I think if you ask yourself that question, that's part of the problem. You now have seen that it works. And I just wanted to share one story with you, and it's not to make you feel bad if you haven't succeeded, but hopefully to give you some inspiration that the process does in fact work. I worked with a guy from Israel, Sean, young guy, 25 years old. Came over here, he said, I don't speak the language well. I would disagree based on the selling that he did. I think he speaks it real well. He had no money. He had failed 2 businesses before. He had a pregnant wife. He had no credit, which is not true. All his credit was bad credit. And so we said, you're going to have to find seller financing. That's what you're going to have to do. So he said, okay. He was working 2 jobs at the time. The second job was an Uber job where he got a fine, had his license essentially suspended, and had to borrow money to get his license back to Uber. So that's how tapped out he was. So he put together a great board, followed the steps again. He ended up finding a seller who would sell, and he had learned a lesson of seller financing, so he asked if he would take back 90%. And the seller said, yeah, I'll take back 90%. So he said, Bruce, I'm screwed. How come? I can't find the 10%. So Dan says this about me all the time, never ask, never get. And he said, why don't I go back and ask for the other 10%? Okay. So he went back. He said as long as 3 days waiting for that. He came back and said, okay, I'll do 100% financing. And then Sean said, I'm still screwed. Now I can't pay the accountants and the lawyers. So, never ask, never get. He went back and said, would you leave $100,000 in the business? And he said, yes, after a while. That's the definition of a motivated seller. The reason he did that was because Sean gave him a tiny slice of the holding company. And he said, your chairman had built a $600 million business before. I think he can do it again. If I can get a little piece of that, that has interest. So I'm a firm believer where there's a will, there's a way. These things work. He ended up, he couldn't get a plane ride because he didn't have the money to go meet with the seller to close the deal. Less than a year later, he calls me. He's done his second deal now. He was calling from a new Mercedes. He was in a custom suit, he told me, and had just taken, because he never took one before, a private plane ride to the next seller. And what he ended up saying was, Dan Pena's methodology changed my life. But to what Dan has said, inspiration or desperation, he said, I am screwed. I have to make this work. And he did. So when I was, a long time ago, I don't know if we can put that slide up, I saw a quote that really did impact me. And it was, imagine if hell was having to watch an endless movie of what your life could have been had you put in the effort to achieve your dreams. To me, over and over watching what could have happened really did have a tremendous impact. So you know what to do, and now I would just encourage you to go do it. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you all.